Welcome to the Tatted Tatter Crochet and Tatting podcast. My name is Stephanie and I'm coming to you from La Mirada, California, which is right on the border of Los Angeles and Orange County. For people who aren't from the area, I tell them I live about 15 minutes from Disneyland, so you know where we are. And yes, I do go out there all the time. And I wanted to do a podcast. I started tatting and crocheting almost a year ago and have just really fallen in love with the fiber arts community and recently discovered podcasts and love seeing what people are working on, getting recommendations for yarn and for patterns, and really just being able to be a part of this community. It's so awesome that there is a place on the internet where people love on each other and share things with each other and work on things together. And so I thought I would jump in on the fun on that. So this is an introductory video with some information about myself as a kind of starter place for people to get to know me, and then I will start doing episodes. So the next video will be episode 1, where I talk about my finished objects and what I'm working on and all that kind of fun stuff. I'm going to try to be unique with it, but who knows if I have time for that. So we'll see how it goes. So a little bit about myself. I am from Southern California, from the San Diego area, and have connections with Virginia. My family's from there. My husband is from there. I lived there for a while. I also really love to travel, so I lived in Tokyo for a year. I've been to Brazil and Namibia, South Korea, China, been back to Japan a couple times, and I'm hoping to visit Europe very soon. We'll see. And then definitely Australia one of these days. It's quite a bit of a distance, but I would love to go there, especially after my most recent discovery of all of the designers and yarn dyers and everybody in Australia. For my work, my day jobs, I work in the United Methodist Church and also in academia, running a writing center at a seminary. I've been married for almost 2 years. On February 12th, so right before Valentine's Day, will be our 7-year dating anniversary, and then in April will be our 2-year wedding anniversary. And my husband Adam runs a band called the 8-Bit Jazz Heroes. They do jazz renditions of video game music, and so that's a thing. And it's actually really cool. I'll put all the information in the links below so you can get to know them. And shameless plug, they just released their first album. It's called Press Start. It's all classic Nintendo songs, and my husband writes all the charts, and then they have a bassist and a drummer, and they play all the songs, and they gig all around LA and Long Beach and that area. And so please do check them out. They're pretty great. I like them a lot. I'm a little biased, but they're still pretty great, so you should watch them. Again, we have 3 animals. I have Peanut the dog, who is about 3 years old. We have our cats, Meatball and Biscuits. Meatball's our big chubby orange tabby, who is currently giving himself a bath in the window. Hopefully you can't hear that. And then Biscuits, who is really Adam's cat. She doesn't care about anything or anyone except Adam and food. But I love her still. And she loves the hand knits, loves the blankets and anything that I make. So yeah, they're pretty great. I love them a lot, my little animals. And I want to give you a little bit of a background in how I started crafting. And then once I start talking about tatting, I'll talk about the tats, the tatted tatter part, which I thought was pretty clever when I came up with it. We'll see. But I've always been a really crafty person. I come from a creative, crafty family. I was in Girl Scouts for a really long time and did a lot of, crafts through that. And, the little things like those little tiny beads that you put on a little plastic spikes, and then you ironed it down to make little shapes, and beaded animals. And I eventually upgraded to the pipe cleaners and pom-pom animals and did all that. And then a couple years ago, I was thinking originally it was November 2016, but I think it was November 2015. I was at a meeting in Portland for this organization that I'm a part of, and there was this woman sitting in our little circle. Her name is Winifred, and she was just working away with her hands on something. And we ended up being on the same flight home, and she was doing it again. And so I asked her, I was like, Winifred, like, what are you doing? That looks really cool. And she told me that she was tatting. She had learned how to do it, you know, from her mother as a little girl. She should be pretty close to 90 years old now. And so when I got home, I did some Googling and some YouTubing, and I went to Michael's and just got some tatting shuttles and some crochet thread, and just started learning via YouTube. And it was really frustrating at first because I did not understand anything about crochet thread or embroidery thread or yarn or the difference between any of these things. And I'll actually do a video eventually about like my experience when I started learning how to tat, to kind of help point people in the right direction, hopefully, for other people who want to learn how to do it. And so I kind of took a break from it. Life was in transition at that time. You know, we were moving and I was graduating from my master's program and getting a new job. And so it just kind of fell by the wayside. But then in February of 2017, I know this because I checked my Amazon orders. I started again for whatever reason. I was feeling creative again. I found my tatting stuff when I was cleaning up, and I got this book. And so this is New Tatting by Tomoko Morimoto, and it is an excellent book on tatting. She gives you all kinds of descriptions about the different types of thread and where to get them, and the different techniques, all the individual, how to make a ring, how to make a chain, like very basic stuff. And then she gives you these beautiful patterns. And so my favorite that I first started making are these bookmarks. So there's the large flower and the small flower bookmarks, and it seemed like something I could figure out using the YouTube videos from Tatted Treasures, which I'll link below because they still exist and they're very helpful. I had learned really basic stuff, and from the Tatted Treasures blog, this is one of the first things I ever made. Just a little motif. I think I used it as a beer coaster that night because I was at a conference. I go to a lot of conferences, and made that. And so when I got this book, I made my first bookmark, and I did not know how to read patterns, and I did not know anything about crochet thread. I was just kind of making it up as I went along. And so I made this, which is not really what it's supposed to look like. This is actually the small flower bookmark, I think. See if I can, there you go. And yeah, not exactly what it's supposed to look like, but I felt like I could figure it out. So I kept going, and I ended up with this, which is what it's actually supposed to look like. So this is the bookmark, and it was really fun. And after I got the hang of it, it only took me like an hour or so to make them. So I made 1,000,000 of them. This is the rainbow thread with the ecru with the off-white. This is like a peachy color. And so I really had a really good time, and I ordered some of the yarns that Morimoto suggests in the book, but of course they had to come from Japan, most of them, some of them from the UK, and so they took forever. But I got those and I started making, and I really enjoyed it. And after I got tired of making the bookmarks, which took a while, I made a lot of them, I found this vintage pattern on Etsy for a cross bookmark. And so I thought these would make nice gifts. And it helped teach me how to turn, like here on the corners of the cross. I figured out how to make tassels, that kind of stuff. So I made a couple of those. And that's really when I started my Instagram. I wanted to get back into community. For my job, I ended up moving to La Mirada, and so I didn't know anyone. And so online was really one of the places where I could connect with people. And so I started my Instagram, and I thought that Tatted Tatter was a cool name because I have a lot of tattoos, and I tat. And so it just made sense to me. And on my Instagram, I'm going to start kind of giving some background on my different tattoos and things. So if you find me on Instagram at Tatted Tatter, you can see all that. And maybe I'm thinking during each podcast episode, I'll explain a tattoo. Hopefully I end up having more episodes than tattoos, but who knows? So we'll see. But yeah, so from there, I really wanted to start expanding and trying new things. And my niece turned 4 in 2017, and she was having a Supergirl birthday party and a unicorn sleepover, of course. And so I was like, well, I want to learn how to crochet and make her a unicorn, do an amigurumi unicorn. And so I found Craftsy. My mother-in-law knits, and so she introduced me to Ravelry and Craftsy and Knit Picks and all those places. And at first, to just learn the basics of crochet, I went to Michael's and I got like an aluminum hook set and some really basic yarn and one of those little books that's like the very basics of crochet. And so I did that. Oh, hi, Peanut. Hey, come here. Come here. Oh, this is our third take, and this is the third time that she has come and run in the room. So she's gonna get tired of you people. But this is Peanut. She's my little baby girl. Your little doggy unicorn, mohawk, doggy mohawk. She needs to go outside, so I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, the dog is outside. I am back with a glare. Oh, the glare's not as bad on my glasses right now, though. Good times. So anyway, yeah, so I found Craftsy, and I discovered Stacy Trock's Woodland Animals Amigurumi class, and absolutely loved it. It was totally worth it. And she breaks it down so well, and I'm a visual learner, so it was really helpful to see the video of her doing it, and I could rewind and watch it a million times. And I eventually made my first crochet project that was finished in May of 2017, according to my Instagram account. And it's Jay, the bluebird. Yeah, so it's just a simple, continuous round. In back loop only. Stacy Trock seems to really prefer the back loops and making the wings and the little beak. I got impatient and didn't want to wait for the plastic safety eyes to come in the mail, so I did my yarn eyes. And he's great and adorable, and I love him, and it really made me fall in love with crochet, and I kept going. You can see behind me the deer over there is from that class. I made the teddy bear, which I learned a lot of things you should not do on said teddy bear. But I really, really enjoyed doing it, and so I kept looking for patterns and finding things to make this unicorn for my niece. I tried a couple different things. I made this horse using Patton's wool, because again, it's yarn I could get it at Michael's, get it pretty easy. I tried it in both loops, trying the different eyes. I did one where I did back loops only in Sugar and Cream, the cotton. And I eventually settled on doing back loops with the Patton's wool for the finished unicorn. So I'll put a picture so you can see Adeline with her unicorn, and luckily she still loves it. And I eventually made her brother a dinosaur, and my nephew, and all these fun things. And so I kept going with it and kept discovering things on the internet. I found mooglyblog.com, Tamara, and she does an amazing job with her videos, and all of her patterns are free. And so that really helped me to get started and do a lot of things through that. And then my mother-in-law came to visit. They live in the DC area. And so she came to visit, and she took me to my first real yarn shop, local yarn shop, and bought me my first skein of indie dyed yarn. And I just fell in love. And so then I started making more garments and discovering all these people, Rebecca of Little Monkeys Crochet, and continuing to do the amigurumi. You can see, I made a bunch. And then I discovered yarn podcasts and knitting and crochet podcasts, and oh my gosh, what a world we live in that this can be our reality, that this can exist, and it's been so much fun. And so there are a couple of podcasts that I wanted to just point out that have really made a big impact on my life, and I really do mean that. I'm not being sarcastic or silly. But the first one was, the amigurumi has led me into all of these worlds, is Megan Barclay of Hookabee. I found her on Craftsy when I made this Bill the Pineapple. He's so cute. This is Loops and Threads, not Loops and Threads, Sugar and Cream cotton. And turns out she started a podcast, and so she does mostly knitting right now, but her podcast is great. She's on a break. She was pregnant the last time I saw her last podcast, so I assume that's why. And then I also discovered Catherine from Crafternoon Treats. I think this is the tea she sent me. You can let me know if I'm wrong. But I ordered some stitch markers from her, and so this is the tea that she sent me. And I could listen to Catherine talk all day. And then there's Claudia at Crochet Luna, who it turns out she actually lives in the same town where I'm from. And so I'm hoping to be able to meet up with her. My parents still live down there through her Crochet Guild group. I did join the Crochet Guild of America. And so I'm hoping to join that and get to meet her. Really excited to meet you, Claudia. And then Hannah at the Cozy Cottage Crochet. I always mix those two up. And as this is my third take, like I mentioned, as I've been watching my videos, I realized that we're very similar in our mannerisms. So, hi Hannah, I know you live on the other side of the country, but we're like the same person. And then of course, Faye at the Crochet Circle podcast, who I've gotten really into. And so in my episode, you'll see all the things that I've done related to Faye's stuff recently. And then I also just discovered Deanne, Addie Day Designs. She's in Australia. Ella at No Catchy Name. I love her projects, and I'm going to steal all of the things that she is making. She's so good. I really love her work. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of new ones to check out, because every time I watch a podcast, they recommend other podcasts, and so I have all these that I'm going to look, and that'll be part of my episodes, too, is what am I watching and what do I recommend. So, yeah, so I'm really excited to be a part of this community, to be able to get to know you all and have you get to know me a little bit, and we can make beautiful things together. I'm hoping to do an episode either every week or every other week, depends on my working schedule, which is insanity, working 2 jobs. And also, of course, how much I have to show you. So either once a week or every other week, we'll see how it goes. My only day off is Saturdays, so they'll either go up Saturdays or Sundays. And we'll just kind of see how it goes. I'm excited about it, and thank you for watching. You can find me online at Tatted Tatter on Ravelry and Instagram. If you need to send me an email, it's long and complicated, so pay attention. I'll put it down in the thing at the bottom. The Tatted Tatter CA at gmail.com, because apparently Tatted Tatter, the Tatted Tatter, Tatted Tatter CA were all taken for whatever reason. So anyway, that's what it is. You can shoot me an email if you want, and I will put up that next video, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.